Hello, dear students. I know you all must be doing great. Today, I'm back with History Chapter 2 From Trade to Territory. We will have two sessions of explanation and one session of question and answer. I hope you all have understood the first chapter well, and also as per the instruction, you all have written down all the question answers so that it will be easy for you to recite. Now let's start with our first session of chapter 2nd. In this chapter, we will study how East India Company, which entered for trading in India but became the ruler. Eventually, it established power over whole nation. In both the images, you can see the difference. In the first image, a British is standing before the king for permission, but in the next image, we can see Britishers sitting in place of king. So exactly what made this happen? This is what the chapter is all about. So let's get started. In this, let's talk about Aurangzeb. He was a very strong ruler. Because he had controlled larger part of India, he was named as last powerful Mughal. Because successor kings were weak and could not manage kingdom properly in India. We will look at the changes after the death of Aurangzeb. Mughal governors, who were called as Subedars, and the big zamindars made their own small kingdoms of themselves. Authority of Mughal had ended, and all the small kings started managing their own kingdom on their own terms. Even Delhi, which was an important capital of Mughals, its position and importance got deteriorated. Let's know some of the prominent kings of that time. Maharaja Ranjit Singh, he was the king of Punjab. Murshid Qali Khan, who was the Nawab of Baghdad. Tipu Sultan, king of Mysore. Now we know what all changes happened politically in 18th century. Meanwhile, in Britain, there was a company called an East India Company. This their aim was to trade with the countries of eastern part of the whole world, for example, India. They had heavy demand things like spices, silk and cotton. These things were abundant available in India, and that too in very low cost. So they came up with a plan that they will travel to India via sea route, purchase all these commodities at very low cost and sell them in their countries at very high cost. So to execute this plan, they got charter from Queen Elizabeth, that is permission that they can trade in India. This charter made them fearless to trade in India, and besides, they will not have any competitor. They thought this will allow East India Company to make huge profits. But this couldn't happen because there were already companies who had reached India. Amongst them, Portuguese Vasco da Gama had already discovered a new sea route and reached in India in 1498 in Calicut. Following them, Dutch also reached India at Pulicat in year 1595. After that, there were French who came to India in 1664 in Pondicherry. Now we know when East India Company came to India, there were already traders from other European countries. So when Indian traders realized that these European companies are only interested in some specific commodities like indigo, spices, silk, etc., they started to raise the prices. It happened because there was high demand. So it was obvious that the prices were rise for those commodities. Now, due to high price of commodities, the profit of these companies started declining. So to safeguard them, all the companies engaged in trade war, East India Company and the rivals started war for trade. In this, they used to sink the ships of other companies. You can see this in the given image. So the European companies, along with the trade war, they also started blocking the sea route so that rival companies should find it difficult to enter India. Second step by them was fortifications. They started creating walls on their trading routes. Besides this, they started keeping their own separate army too. The reason was to protect themselves from this war. Now Indian kings went against because they obtained the permission to do trade on India's land, but they observed that under the name of the trading they were doing rivalries. They have started building forts on their land. They have started making armies of themselves, which was disliked by the Indian kings. So East India Company got rivalries from two sides, one from European companies and other hand from Indian kings. But there was a good thing happened with East India Company. They finally started trading in India. They started first English factory on the banks of river Hooghly in 1651. They also constructed warfare warehouse to keep their products safely. They also made officers for their Indian office to handle the office, to deal with customers. In year 1696, they also started constructing fort in Bengal with an intention to stay for long period of time and do trade. After 2 years, they bribed officers and got Diwani, rights of 3 villages. Diwani is an allowance which gives you right to collect revenue from the particular places. Revenue was a very good source of income for East India Company. One of the 3 villages was Calicut, which is presently known as Kolkata. When the company got Farman from Emperor Akbar, Aurangzeb, Farman is a written permission, same like charter from Queen Elizabeth that was discussed earlier in the session. So due to this Farman, they got right to do duty free trade. But free trade means they do not have to pay any taxes for trading in the country. This was very beneficial for East India Company because they did not had to pay anything to do trade in India. So their profits share had increased. Now after this they started misusing this Farman. These officers had small side business alongside working with East India Company. Now what they did was they used to show the Farman and do duty free business without paying any taxes. Because of this, the Nawab of Bengal started to suffer huge revenue loss. Hence, Murshid Khan, who was Nawab from 1717 to 1727, went against the East India Company saying they are suffering huge revenue loss due to misuse of Farman by them and it will affect the administration of state expenses. Similarly, his successor Alivardi Khan, year 1742 to 1756, who also was a strong ruler, also went against East India Company, saying the misuse of Farman is very wrong thing and this should stop. Next successor Siraj ud Din Daula, who became king in 1756, also went against East India Company and stopped all the grants and concessions of Britishers. On the top of that, he accused Company to deceit and attempt the attempt to humiliate him through disrespectful letters. In letter, British officer had written that they will not pay taxes and also not give them fortification done by Britishers. This was very humiliating for the king. So to tackle this, King Tata thought of controlling the East India Company by making strict rules and regulations. So the king decided that the company shall pay the revenue and East India Company shall not do any kind of fortifications. One more step by the Nawab was he captured the officers of Kas- at Kasim Bazar and sent them to jail and established control over the Calcutta fort. After this, company justified themselves by saying the Nawab's demand was very unjust for asking too much revenue, which was wrong. They also wanted to have permission to do for fortifications so that they can protect themselves, but they weren't allowed. So the Britishers were of the view that this is very unjust and hence they decided to battle against Sirajud-Dowla. So today we stop here and we'll continue further topic in next session. I hope you all have understood every topic that was covered in today's session. Do read the textbook, read the slides while video is on, as well as hear the session carefully. Also refer the images in the topic slides for better understanding. Underline the hard words in the textbook and write 5 to 10 times in the notebook to memorize them. See you in the next session. Till then, bye. Take care.